Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a nautical anomaly that completely defies time, space, and literally everything we know about navigation. We're unpacking this absolutely fascinating account of an island that just wasn't on any map anywhere, and the solitary captain who actually lived to tell the tale. It's a wild ride, so let's get right into the investigation.
Now, I want you to step into the shoes of a veteran sailor for just a second. Imagine you've spent your entire life mastering the oceans. You know, the currents, the stars, the maps, the whole shebang. And then, out of nowhere, you're staring straight at a landmass that absolutely 100% should not exist. So what happens when a seasoned captain finds a place that defies all logic? What happens to your reliance on the rules when the physical world just completely breaks them?
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, the Unmapped Island. A storm, a clearing, an anomaly. To break down exactly how he reached this impossible destination, let's take a look at this timeline. Because Captain Alex wasn't some amateur who just kind of got lost. No, this is a guy with 20 years of maritime experience. We're talking 20 solid years of sailing the world's oceans without a single incident. But then comes one specific storm. A storm that changed literally everything. When the thick fog from this storm finally clears, well, the discovery is made. Right there in front of him, looming out of the clearing fog, is an island completely absent from every single navigational chart in existence. Crazy, right? And stepping onto the shore presented this immediate, super eerie contrast to reality. Think about it. If you or I were to approach a normal, untouched island, what would we expect to find? We'd expect life. Birds circling overhead, animals moving in the brush. Just the normal, everyday sound of wildlife. But on this unmapped island, complete and utter silence. The only natural sound was just the crashing of the waves. Visually, there was no lush wildlife at all. Instead, there was just this enormous stone lighthouse standing dead in the center. A massive structure built by unknown hands, just sitting there in total isolation.
Moving right along to Section 2, Anomalies of the Lighthouse, where time and direction break. So that stone structure wasn't just a building, it was kind of the epicenter of the whole anomaly. Stepping inside, well, it's like a giant puzzle. Every single wall was completely covered in clocks. But here's where it gets really weird. Every clock was showing a totally different time, yet all of them were continuously ticking. It was like time itself was fragmented, just happening all at once. And then at the very top of the tower, Alex finds a glass compass. Except it's not pointing north, it's just spinning wildly. The two most absolutely crucial navigational tools for any sailor, time and direction, are fundamentally broken here. Oh, and right beside that spinning compass lay a dusty journal with a warning.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is Section 3, Why It Appears Rarely, the Rule of Manifestation. And this brings us to the core mystery of this whole explainer. Why had literally no one charted this island in all of human history? Well, the answer was waiting right there in that dusty journal. Inside was this exact warning. The island appears only to those who are searching for something they cannot name. Let that sink in for a second. Think about the massive psychological weight of that rule. The island's manifestation is strictly governed by this deeply specific, elusive human condition. It perfectly explains why the island is so rarely seen. I mean, it doesn't appear to explorers looking for gold or cartographers out looking for new land. It bypasses them entirely. It only reveals itself to a sailor carrying a very specific kind of internal, unnamed longing. The rarity of the island is directly tied to the rarity of this exact psychological state. That is a real game changer. And honestly, this rule turns the entire discovery inward, doesn't it? It makes us ask, what unnamed thing are you searching for? It kind of forces us to consider that Captain Alex, despite his 20 years of super confident sailing, was actually adrift internally. He was looking for a destination he couldn't even put into words. And this mysterious island, it just responded to that exact void.
Section 4. The island vanishes, a rapid destabilization.
Now, understanding the island's rule came with an immediate, terrifying consequence. Let's walk through this rapid destabilization, step by step. Before Alex could even turn to read another page of the journal, the entire enormous stone lighthouse began to violently shake. And remember all those clocks continuously ticking on the walls? Well, step 2, they started stopping, just one by one. Time was literally running out. Then step 3, looking outside, the sea itself began to disappear, completely swallowed up by a rapidly advancing, thick white fog. Facing complete erasure, Alex did the only thing he really could do. He grabbed that wildly spinning glass compass and ran for his life straight back to his ship. And wow, the timing of his escape couldn't have been closer. The very moment he pulled up anchor and sailed away, the island vanished behind him as if it had never existed. There was no slow fading, no gradually receding into the distance, just instant, sudden finality. The anomaly had officially closed.
Section 5. A Compass to Nowhere. The Legacy of a Lost Place. So what happens after you escape the impossible? Well, you try to prove it actually happened. When Captain Alex finally reached the nearest port, he did have physical proof. That glass compass he grabbed from the top of the lighthouse. He showed it to the other sailors at the port, but honestly, it offered absolutely no answers. The glass compass pointed to nowhere. It was an artifact from a place that operated on a completely different set of physical laws, rendering it entirely useless in our world. Yet, it was undeniable proof that the unmapped island was real. 0. That is the number of captains who ever found the mysterious island again. 0. Despite having Captain Alex's detailed account, despite knowing roughly where that storm had taken him, and despite years of intensive searching by tons of experienced sailors, absolutely 0 success. So the crucial point we're left with is this realization that Captain Alex ultimately came to. Are some places meant to be discovered only once? If a location requires you to be searching for something you cannot name, well, perhaps the very act of finding the island fundamentally changes you. You're no longer searching, and therefore the island can never appear to you or anyone trying to follow your map ever again. It's a truly fascinating look at how our internal state might just dictate the external horizons we're actually capable of reaching. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, keep questioning the maps you've been given.